So I was actually born and raised in Buffalo, New York, and I was there until the age of about, I want to say, 16, 17, and there were just some things that were taking place in Buffalo that my parents were not happy about, and I would come home, tell them all these stories about high school and things that were happening and the incidents that were going on. And I'm just excited. So I was like, guess what happened today? Guess what happened today? And they were just, oh, okay, oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Next thing I knew, the following year, they said, okay, you're going to private school. So I only did my freshman and sophomore year in Buffalo. And then my junior year, I was sent to a Christian school in Pine Forge, Pennsylvania. And then that following year, we actually moved to Huntsville. My father was working for the government at that time. And so we actually relocated to Huntsville. So I went over to Oakwood Adventist University. Oakwood Academy at that time. And that's kind of how I got to Huntsville. I went to Alabama A&M after I finished Oakwood. I went to Alabama A&M because I knew the whole time, I always knew I was going to be a teacher. I mean, that was always I wanted to be a teacher since I was in the second grade. And so A&M just had a great teaching program, and I was just so excited to become a teacher. So I went to Alabama A&M, graduated, went and taught in Florida for a couple of years because at the time I graduated, they weren't hiring teachers at that time. So I relocated to Florida because I had a friend who was an A&M student. He said, they really need some African American teachers in this particular part of Florida. They really do. So I said, okay, I spoke to him on a weekend. I want to say that Monday I called, and by that Friday, my dad had moved me down to this little town called Mount Dora, Florida, which is where I actually started my teaching career. And they hired me like almost really right on the spot, sight unseen. They just needed African American teachers that bad. So I stayed there for about maybe 2.5 years, and then kind of got homesick for Huntsville because I absolutely love Huntsville. Love it, love it, love it. So I actually relocated back to Huntsville because I found out that they were actually starting to hire at that point. So I came back to Huntsville and got my master's degree at Alabama A&M, married, had a family, divorced, and then just started living life. And so that just kind of brings me up to maybe 2011, which is when I retired after a 30-year teaching career. And after I retired from Huntsville City Schools, there were a couple of things that were happening in my life at that time, just a few things that were taking place. I should back up to 2010. Maybe I should back up to 2009, because I remember this was the thing that struck me the most. I saw this article in Essence magazine, and I was reading about this story, and people who know me, they know this story already. It was the story about Martin Lee Anderson. Martin Lee Anderson was 14 years old. He died in this boot camp on day one after being there. Just for one day, he got sent there. He was sent there because he had stolen his grandmother's car, went to the store, stole some candy, and yada, 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 and went to boot camp. He told the guards that he was tired. They forced him to continue to run. He collapsed. They tried to revive him with some vinegar tablets or something weird like that. And the outrage that was, all over the country, there was just so much outrage at this, they're going to get this boot camp shut down, justice for Martin Lee Anderson. There were all these protests in Florida, because that's where this took place, protests in the NAACP, ACLU, sororities, fraternities, everybody's coming out, justice for Martin Lee Anderson, justice for Martin Lee Anderson. And so I'm reading this article, and I'm thinking to myself, justice for Martin Lee Anderson. I said, but what if those same thousands and thousands of protesters had intervened in Martin's life before he had gotten to that point? It's like, it's too late now. This young man is gone, but what if somebody had intervened in his life while his mom is out there working 3 jobs trying to make ends meet, while he's in the classroom struggling, his mom's getting calls every other day because of his behavior in class, and just all these other things that took place before he got to boot camp. What if all these protesters and everybody shouting for justice had said, hey, let's intervene in this child's life? And so it's kind of like that I got this inspiration, like, what can we do about it? What can be done about it? You know how you sit there as you're on the couch reading your magazine saying, why doesn't somebody do something? Why doesn't somebody do something? And then of course you have to kind of look in the mirror and say, well, what can you do about this? How can you be instrumental in making a difference in some child's life so they don't end up there? And that was one of the things that inspired me to start Huntsville Community Drumline. The other thing that was taking place, I just so happened to be the coordinator of a drumline at my church, and I could see that it was just having such a positive impact on the community. But now it's at a church, and where people, they don't necessarily want to join your church, but they would love to see their kids perform on this drumline. And so I would pass by this building all the time, every day, because I don't live too far from this building. Pass by, there was a for sale sign on it, and so my imagination just starts running wild, like, wow, that would be a great place to have like a little community drum line. What would be, oh wow, that would be just awesome. So I was thinking about that. Then the third thing that was taking place is my son, who is actually the drummer. I get all these accolades. People are always saying, hey, you're the greatest, you did a great job, blah, blah, blah. Without my son, the drummer, none of this would have even been possible. He is the one who is the drummer. He's been doing drums since he was 4 years old. And when he was in the 10th grade, 11th grade, he said, I'm not going to college. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, yes, you are. And he's like, oh, no, I'm not. And I'm like, yeah, you are. And he's like, no, I'd rather sit on the side of the road with a cup and a guitar, not even drums, but a guitar, and with a cup saying, we'll work for food, before I ever take another math class. And so I'm thinking, oh boy, this isn't good, because I don't want him to fall through the cracks. I don't want him to just be another statistic. I just don't want this to happen to him. So with all those three things just kind of converging on my life at that time, I contacted the owner of this building, and kind of told him what my idea was, because it's a pretty expensive building. I said, I'm just a little retired teacher here, and whatever. But he was willing to hold the mortgage on this building, which makes him kind of like the angel behind the scenes, because if I had gone to a bank, we wouldn't be here today to even talk about this. But he was kind enough to work with me, and the rest is history. And that's been 14 years ago. So here we are. That was in 2010, and here we are 14 years later. Probably 5,000-6,000 kids have come through here, and the majority of them, I can honestly say, have just done very well. Most of them are either active in their school bands, they've gone to college. We have some who have actually graduated from college. We also have some who have gone and served our country in the military. And it's just been so fulfilling to see the positive impact that Huntsville Drumline has had on the community. Just the love that we have from the community has just been really inspiring me to continue. I just have to still give glory to God, because I know that without him, none of this would have happened either. And then he just continues to place individuals in my path that people that people don't even know about. People always have a preconceived notion about where you get your help from, but there are people behind the scenes that, they don't even know these kids. They don't even know anything about these kids, but they can see what the impact has been on the community, and they're just willing to support. And that has truly been a blessing, and that's kind of how we are here today. Of course, we are 100% We don't charge any fees. We have a little registration fee, but other than that, we don't charge fees. Everything we do is free of charge. We instruments are, we provide instruments. No, it's just a free program, and that's just been a blessing as well to be able to do this now for 14 years. Has just really been a blessing. 2 years ago, in 2021, we actually started the Grandmasters, and my son he sent me a video of this senior center with these senior adults, and they were playing these exercise balls with drumsticks. And he's like, "Ma, you gotta check this out." And so I saw it and I said, "Wow, that's pretty cool." I said, "But guess what? We actually have drums, so we wouldn't have to use any exercise balls." And so after that, I actually said, "Well, you know what? Let's start a program for senior adults." So now we have the Grandmasters, and that's for retirees, senior citizens over the age of 60, but we don't send anybody away. So we have a few who are under 60 who kind of slip in every now and then. And that's a really fun program. We do that twice a month as well. Then last year we got this, we received a grant from a community foundation, and I think it was sponsored by Google Fiber or whatever. Anyway, it was a digital inclusion grant. And with that grant, we were able to start our Mix Masters program. And this is a program, once again, it's free of charge, where kids can learn how to produce music and videos, and it's been pretty amazing. So we're going on 2 years with that. We actually have a professional music producer who actually comes and teaches the class, and it's like for 8-week sessions. So now what we're doing is we're preparing young people who will be able to come in, one day when you're ready to retire, take over your job.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but we just want to get them prepared. I guess overall my goal is to just change the narrative of young people who are, when you sit down and you have these conversations about children that are, it's always negative, it's always, they're always in trouble, they're always doing this and they're always doing that. Whereas I know I can't save the world, but even if it's just one or two who are now active in their music ministries at church, if they're participating in their bands at school, if they're working at a news station or working somewhere using the skills that they learned from something that they have gotten from Huntsville Drumline, then I feel as if I have made a difference. And so instead of complaining and saying, how come somebody doesn't do something, I can honestly say, I did something. I did. Can't say that it wouldn't be without the team, because I am a part of while I am a part of the Grandmasters percussion class, and I can teach pretty well. I do pretty well, but I am not a drummer by any means. But if my son, if he's late, no, he did go back to college. I should clarify that, because he did change his mind after working for minimum wage for a few. He said, well, maybe I had a friend who actually had a conversation with him and said, you have a lot of skills. You really benefit from getting a college degree. So he went on to Alabama A&M, my alma mater, which I'm really proud of.
Me too.
That's right. And he got his degree, did it in 3.5 years, because he was tired of being around those young people. He was like, okay, I got to get out of here. So he went and got his degree, 3.5 years. So that also gives credibility to our program too, because we actually have him as our creative director, and he's got a music degree and a music business degree. So I say all that to say, because I forgot what I was saying. There was a reason why I even brought that up, but of course my mind just goes all over the place sometimes. But with him being the instructor, he does the instruction for the mini masters, the stick masters, the grand masters, not the mix masters, but he does work with the, he does teach percussion. But what's really been cool is, well, it's been pretty cool for me, and that is we have students who have actually gone through our program, and then they come back and they actually help us with teaching and things like that. But the whole idea is for them to get involved with their music ministries. That's what I was saying. Get involved with their music ministries at their church. Get college scholarships. We want them to get those college scholarships. That is just the ultimate, the ultimate goal. If they decide they want to not even play drums, we want them to be contributing members to our society. That is so important. I want them to be kind humans. I just want them to be, just change the narrative. There's so much negativity out there, and so much, everybody's just on edge and feeling as if, what negativity can we put into the atmosphere? And I just want to change that. And so drums are just the tools we use, and that's just kind of helped us to change the narrative and make a difference in Huntsville, make a difference in the community, North Alabama, and hopefully we'll be able to go another 14 years.